Is this potentially on a par with the financial crisis of 2007-8?
Well, actually, in many ways, I think it's worse than that, and also worse than the recession we just saw during the pandemic, because the key difference here is the impact on household budgets. We're facing a situation where many families are going to be unable to pay their energy bills, and indeed are facing huge pressures elsewhere in their budget, including food prices. So I think in terms of the welfare of ordinary people, ordinary families, this is potentially a lot worse than either financial crisis or the recent hit we had from the pandemic.
And immediately locks in the entire political screaming match, because those people, those household budgets, are also voters and are concerned. I noticed, and you and I had a social media exchange a little earlier, that what I call the economic textbook warriors are out in force today in the newspapers. Patrick Minford gives a brilliant interview to Simon Heffer in the Telegraph, and for those listening to our conversation on radio, that's what I'm holding up now, with a picture of Minford there bang in the middle. But also the Chancellor, former Chancellor of the Exchequer and Tory leadership candidate himself, Rishi Sunak, puts pen to paper in The Times, taking an alternative view. Unless I've got it wrong, it boils down to the Truss plan of lower taxes, fewer levies and a run for growth has merit, but that's no longer a real answer, says her contender, Rishi Sunak. Who do you think is right?
Well, I mean, first of all, I think a lot of the old Treasury orthodoxy has to go out the window here. I mean, we're basically facing an enormous economic and social crisis. And in many ways, it's akin to a war. I mean, we are effectively fighting a war with Russia. It may not be a military war, but it's a war that's hitting household budgets through higher energy prices. So we frankly should be willing to throw almost as much money at this problem as we possibly can. Now, in terms of which of the two candidates has the better plan, I think I basically add them together. I think Rishi Sunak has emphasised the importance of providing more support for low-income households, and I think that should probably be the priority when dealing with the increase in energy bills in October. But we also need medium to longer-term plans, which I think should include broader tax cuts, a contingency plan for what happens if bills continue to rise next year, and also looking at the longer term structural problems in the energy market. So that's everything from the fact that we seem to be overly dependent on what happens to the gas price. We haven't invested enough in alternatives, and in many ways, actually, there's been too much government intervention here rather than too little.